Well guys, 2022 is finally over, and thank goodness. Over the course of the 2022 season, we put out 116 videos dealing specifically with the crop production this year. That 116 videos covered around 55 hours total running time. And even then, I feel like we probably missed some stuff that we should have covered. But for the long-term viewers, I want to thank you for riding along with us all year long, experiencing some of our lowest of lows that we've ever experienced, but also some of our highest of highs. So anyway, in this video, we're going to recap the whole season. We took that roughly 55 hours worth of video and pared it down to something about an hour long, just trying to hit the high points and the low points and the funny points of the season. So anyway, in case you didn't know this, in each title of every video we put out, we've got the date on there. So this video right now is in semi-chronological order. So if you see a clip and you want to go back and see the full video, just kind of search by the date and the topic in our video list, and it shouldn't be too hard to find. I mean, I would love to be able to tag every video that we used in the making of this video, but YouTube only limits us to 5 tags total. So I'll tag a few of them, some of the more important ones, but otherwise it shouldn't be too hard to find the majority of the stuff, on our channel. And if this is the first time you've ever seen any of our videos, hopefully this video will interest you enough and you just go back to the beginning of the 2022 season, just watch all the videos straight through. It only take you a little over 2 solid days to do it, but hopefully you can find the time. So guys, without any more stalling, let's just relive what we went through this last year. Now going into this year, we had a pretty good idea this was going to be a little bit different year than normal, probably going to be a little bit more difficult. Starting out going into the year, one of the major things from 2022 was a short supply of everything from chemicals to parts and the enormous inflation of the prices of our inputs. A lot of what I've done in the past, agronomically and business-wise, has been leading up to for when we have a year like this year where inputs are sky high, or say a year when we have a drought. Everything I've been doing with soil health and sustainability and building up fertility and saving up money and spending it wisely, all of that has led up to the type of year that we're looking at having this year. So I feel very confident in our business plan and our model going forward. Fertilizer has it's gone insane. It really has. We're looking at $860 a ton for urea. It's a jump of 109%. Potash, right now we're looking at $820 a ton. It's an increase of 156%. DAP, $850, increase of 79%. UAN, either 28% or 32%. That's a liquid nitrogen fertilizer, $625 a ton. Compared to last year of $196 a ton. Roundup and Liberty, glyphosate and glufosinate. I don't know how much of it we're going to be able to get, or if we'll even be able to get any of it at all. This year, if we can even get it, I've heard that prices will be somewhere between, say, $50 and $100 a gallon, if we can even get it. After getting input prices, we try to determine if there's any profitability to be had this year. All right, well, there's what our profit potential is looking like on corn this year. Better than last year, even with the really big increase in fertilizer prices. So corn's looking pretty dang good this year. All right, profit potential is looking pretty good on full season soybeans. We're looking like we could have a really good profit potential on cotton this year. Look at those numbers. That right there is why we planted a record number of wheat acres this year, because our profit potential is there big time. But inflation wasn't just limited to chemicals and fertilizer. Well, I drained the gas tank yesterday. I called about some more this morning. Hurt my feelings. $4.02 a gallon. At today's fuel prices, I think it's somewhere around $5 a gallon for off-road diesel. At least that's what Dylan told me. I hope we got enough to get us through the rest of the year. $13,500 to rebuild both hydrostats and both motors. Here's the correct brake pads. Got them, but notice they came in 2 individual boxes. That means that they sell them separately. That means that they're probably pretty expensive, doesn't it? These brake pads right here are probably more expensive than Ferrari brake pads. $150 per brake pad. These ain't much bigger than what's on my side-by-side. Just take a wild guess. I'll give you a second. Take a wild guess what this electric fan clutch with a pulley was. $2,868 and some change. You know, used to when I first took over this farm, my dad passed away, I was shocked by how much stuff cost, how outrageous parts were, and then over the course of the years, I just become jaded. In fact, if a part comes in cheaper than what I thought it'd be, I'm shocked then. Well, I was really shocked this time. I was expecting $500, $600, maybe $800 for this. Almost $3,000. Now, before playing again, we had several major winter projects that we had to do, starting with getting the paint fixed on the booms on a sprayer. You know, we all absolutely love these R-Series sprayers, but there's one thing that I really don't like about these sprayers, is the quality of the paint on the booms. Unfortunately, after working on it for one day, I found out the job was going to be just a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Sometimes a man just got to know when to admit defeat. What you see here is what I was able to get accomplished, and I got that done with this little pot blaster. I decided I'm gonna turn it over to the professionals. But before I do that, all of this plumbing and electronics and everything has got to come off. Everything's sandblasted, got a good thick coat of primer on it, and the only thing left to do is put the paint on there and the clear coat in. Well, there she is, all put back together. After the sprayer's finished, Zach and I had some pretty big upgrades to do to the planter. All right, looks like we got us another jigsaw puzzle this year.
I really thought we were done with air compressors.
What we got here is about $20,000 worth of precision planting parts. Hopefully these parts will solve some of the problems we saw during our cotton planting last year, and hoping to help ensure that we get a good stand this coming up year, that our planter will be able to adapt to almost any condition we can face. We're going to replace all of these closing wheels on our back 12 rows with these, and it can automatically adjust the air pressure to either give you more downforce or less downforce, just depending on what the conditions are. Now we've also got clean sweep that we can also adjust from the cab to either take some down pressure off of our row cleaners. We can actually add more down pressure to these row cleaners, so if we do come into spots where we got really thick mats of cover crop, I can add a little air to the cylinder, force these things down to dig a little bit more to where we got a nice clean seed bed for the double disc openers to operate in. All right, Zach, you reckon it's all gonna work? Let's test and find out. After a few minor issues of getting things communicating on the planter, it's time to find out just how much work my combine needed. All right, so what's the final verdict?
Not too bad. Wear strips in our feeder. Taylor's processor. You got the lower bearing, you got the bushings at the top and idler.
Yeah.
This inspection here's kind of short.
That's the kind you like, ain't it?
It's most definitely the kind I like. I don't know about the store, but.
But before we could begin repairs, we had to find out the source of a vibration problem on our cleaning fan.
It's tore out right there. Yep.
She gone.
That'll cause that vibration. There it is. You see that where it's kind of tore right there around the metal bushing.
Combine repairs, not without its adventures.
I wound up looking like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, man.
I got it right in your face, didn't you?
I sure am gonna look like the Tin Man.
And some repairs definitely could have been way more easy.
That sucker might as well be welded on there.
Smoke it up.
Yeah, she ain't moved 1 millimeter.
Rich has never failed us.
Never, well, failed me when I run out of gas.
After a few more jobs, the combine's finally done. Well, you reckon she's ready for another 100 bushel wheat crop?
She's ready.
It wasn't a long list and it wasn't an expensive list. It was kind of a time consuming list though. We finished off the major winter shop projects with a little excitement when we tried to pull the augers out of the grain buggy.
Well, she's stuck again. Look at this. Got the back end of this forklift off the ground.
This is a 12,500 pound rated forklift.
And it's got the back end off the ground. I'm open to suggestions.
We had this thing out 2 years ago when I put all the new thing, and we doped it with anti-seed.
Well, it's done corroded again.
All the while shop work was going on, high-priced inputs began arriving on our farm.
Well, the first of the 2022 high-priced fertilizers showed up. You're looking at about $15,500 of nitrogen fertilizer being offloaded there.
And then before we knew it, it's finally time to get back in the field. Seems like it's been no time at all since I just left the field, but in reality it's been about 2 months before we've done any kind of work in the field. Tell you what, time flies by when you're going home at 5 o'clock every night, it seems like. Well, y'all ready to go right along in the tractor? We're gonna get started spraying our burn down strips. Well, we finally got the beautiful day that the weatherman promised us. It done got warm outside. I had to come out of my long sleeves. Tell you what, if we had 2 or 3 days of this in a row, I can almost guarantee you we see some corn planters rolling down the roads of West Tennessee. While Matt sprayed, Zach and Kelly had a few special projects they had to work on.
Oh, just another typical day at Griggs Farms LLC, tree trimmer and lumberjack today.
Where's the track hole when you need one? No, apparently we have lumberjack Zach over here. I bet you he can be able to push this. It's been there a while. Oh, I don't know. Oh yeah! There it is. Welcome to Armadillo Day. Where we are going through the fields and marking off every armadillo hole. And Zach is taking the chisel plow and chiseling them up.
Armadillo eradication group.
We got another one. We're up to 18 now. There we go. Wow, that's a good one to show y'all. Look at that. So, we're not in there. I don't know. My camera skills are not that great. I'm a still photographer, not a GoPro person. So. Oh, why are they so bad? I think I'm 100% convinced that there was a family out here. Look at all these flags. Where are they coming from? Armadillo Army. Oh look, there's another one over there.
And of course, spring field work would not be complete without getting stuck, at least once. So I got this tractor stuck.
My fee is going to be $49.95 just for the phone call, and after that it's going to be $110 per minute.
Okay. Okay, smart Alec, how quickly can you be over here so I minimize my charges? Come on, baby, come on, woo! And the interviewers got to see us do something that they'd never seen us do before. Where we did that fresh dirt work 2 years ago, it's kind of washboarded along where the terraces were, so we're going to start out by smoothing up those washboards. Now, in order to get this good and level, because we got such thick cover crop on here, we're going to have to cut this multiple times from as many directions as we can to try and cut it up real good. And after working this thing for 2 years, it is just way too rough on my equipment. We still got a real good slope, but now it's a nice gentle slope with not a bunch of dips and everything. Finally, it was time to put some corn seed in the ground and test out our improvements on the planter.
Finally, after 2 weeks and Mother Nature taking her meds, we are starting plant 2022. And the first thing we're gonna start with is corn.
All right, go ahead and take a good look at this planter. This is as clean as it's gonna be for the next 2.5 months. After doing some initial adjusting and filling up with seed, we made tracks for the field.
So I have to spray before Matt will plant, so I get in front of him.
Here we go. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Right at 2 inches.
Well, gentlemen, and the 3 ladies that watch our channel, I think we're ready to put some seed in the ground.
Oh, you don't sound so enthused. You're supposed to be so excited because we're starting.
Now, due to lots of rain, we were several weeks later planting than what we wanted. This is the latest I have ever started planting in my career. I was beginning to have my doubts if we'd ever get a chance to put some seed in the ground. After constant little issues and planting conditions continuing to improve, we had our first major breakdown of the spring on the last day of corn planting. Well, crap, there went a good day. Zach just hollered me on the radio, and he just had a hydraulic line on the sprayer blow, the one that actually drives the wheel motors, right as he was crossing Highway 45, which is a very busy 4-lane highway right here in the heart of Jackson.
Zach is broke down at the main intersection, and I'm gonna have to take this water truck to back everybody from going around him because he's literally stuck. He blew the main hydraulic line on the sprayer.
Hey, I'm the guy that needs to fix that way up there. Let me through.
That's my team. Look at this. This is insane.
There she is, right there.
Freaking day.
But after several hours and lots of oil dry, we're finally able to get it back up and going. Give a shout out to the fire department here in Jackson, also the police department for sticking out here, keeping us safe from getting hit by traffic and helping us get this cleaned up. 3, 2, 1, 1.5, 0. We're done. 505 acres of corn in the ground. We then quickly turned our attention to getting our full season soybeans planted.
You made me turn it the wrong way.
They normally lock, so it's unlocking it.
That has a good shot in it. Since our beans are late, you get to see the roller crimper in action. I know Zach is so excited about this. He's gonna be on this. I'm gonna be on the sprayer. How that works is I spray. He waits about 30 minutes. He rolls right behind me. Matt comes in right behind the roller crimper and plants.
All right, it is 3:17. How many acres y'all think we can realistically get over this afternoon?
No, there's no we, it's you. We can get over 80 acres. Can you get over 80 acres?
That sounds like a challenge. But after getting a half a day in, we had weather to contend with.
I don't know if you can see it. That rain on the windshield. We got a nasty looking sail fixing to come right over us.
It's now a question if we'll get done planting today or not.
Matt just told me to mix up a full load. Look what it's doing.
Thankfully, the rain wasn't too heavy and we got our beans planted. However, during corn and soybean planting, we noticed a problem with the planting tractor that continued to get more and more serious. We spent all morning diagnosing the hydraulic problems on this tractor. Still really don't know what's wrong with it. No, remote number 1 is not getting full flow, and he thinks there could be a problem with a gear in there or a pump going bad. So what our plan is now is we're going to haul it up to Union City to where the tech can get started working on it. Zach's on cloud 9. He's getting to drive a shiny red Peterbilt today. Unfortunately, due to multiple reasons, repairs to the planter tractor took a lot longer than expected.
Yeah, he's gonna have 2 Allen head bolts he's got to drill out in the morning. We've got to see if we can come up with those 2.
If he can source those bolts, you think there's a chance y'all get it done tomorrow?
Yeah, it's, as far as I know, that's all we're gonna need.
I imagine there's still gonna be a few more hurdles to go through. Finally heading up to Union City to get the tractor, but the mechanic just called me. He pulled it outside and it sprung a leak. He's thinking it's just an O-ring. He's thinking he'll be able to fix it, but it wouldn't be our farm if this was going to be easy. So I'm expecting to be disappointed yet again. Then it's supposed to be ready Monday. It's supposed to be ready yesterday. Now it's supposed to be ready today. All right, update. Service manager said, got bad news. The O-ring that they needed did not show up in the overnight shipment. I'm really trying to keep my composure on camera because I really want to go off right now, but it's not going to do any good because it's not the service department's fault. They're taking care of every problem as it comes up. It's just stuff that happens that's unseen. You ready to go pick tractor up? They finally got it ready. Earlier than I expected today. Hallelujah, we might get some cottonseed in the ground today. All right, well, the service manager gave us the green light. We are going to make some tracks for Mason Grove. After quickly getting set up, we were finally ready to go put some cottonseed in the ground. All right, guys, I might be fashionably late as always, but I finally made it to the party. We were quickly hit with another problem.
No, she just finished spraying it and my left front's down.
We can't win for
Yeah, what's that old saying? If it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all.
One new tire later, we started planting cotton into some fantastic conditions.
It's about 1 inch in the ground, which for the conditions we got is just fine. Normally I shoot for like a 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4 inch, but usually we're not dealing with this good of conditions on germinating. So
despite the usual weather problems and some breakdowns, cotton planting progressed relatively quickly. It's raining to our north, it's raining to our south, and that's coming right towards us.
Field, I was going to have you look. It looks like the end cap on my right cylinder on this wing is trying to blow off.
It's been a long road, but we finally made it. Here we are, the end of cotton planting. We should have a good stand of cotton. It ain't up yet, but we've definitely got the weather to make it come up. Due to good May weather, we got a good stand of crops with no replanting needed. All right, this is the very first corn we planted. It's been almost 5 weeks. You know, looking out here, I mean, this corn looks fantastic. Some of the best looking corn I've had in quite a few years. We got an absolutely picture perfect stand. You know, we got nice, even spacing right there. Right now we got real good soil moisture. I mean, corn is really taking off, really starting to grow, and the roots are growing optimally right now. You know, I'd say right now we've got about as close to 100% yield potential as what we can have at this point in the year. It appeared that the new planter systems performed flawlessly. We've got a good stand of beans. As of right now, we still got 100% yield potential on soybeans. Still got a long ways to go though. We do have a stand of cotton. Do we have a perfect stand of cotton? No. Do we have a better stand of cotton than last year? Absolutely. If you know anything about cotton, you know it's the biggest sissy on coming up. It's like a lazy teenager. It looks for every reason to stay in bed, not get out of bed in the morning. Well, that clean sweep, we're able to add downforce to the row cleaners and force it to, instead of riding along some of this cover crop, to really dig down there and get to the soil and scoot it all out of the way. And as you can see right there, it did a picture perfect job. You can tell right there, man, that seed trench closed up tight. I mean, it did an absolutely fantastic job. I was really blown away by the furrow force. I want to show y'all what our wheat crop looked like. We're getting really close to harvest. We're gonna have an awesome wheat crop. Will it top last year's? I don't think so. We had a lot better cotton planting weather this year, and when you have good cotton planting weather, that's not necessarily conducive to making super high yields on wheat. It did not have as much time to fill grain, so the grain will probably be a little bit lighter. After a few weeks of tending crops and a weather scare, we were finally ready to focus on wheat. I think the wheat's ready. I don't know. I could go out there with a moisture tester, handheld moisture tester, and check it, but what's fun in that?
It's much rather go take the combine.
It's a lot more fun to take combine out there. All right, it's time for the day that every farmer lives for. When you find out whether or not you tighten all the nuts and bolts on the combine that you worked on this winter. We do have grain going in the tank. I mean, it looks nice and clean. But we jumped the gun just a little bit as the wheat still needed to dry down a little bit.
You gonna cut any more?
No, that's it. This stuff is still pretty dang wet.
When the wheat finally did dry down, we saw a lot more variable yields than what we were anticipating.
Yields are about what I expected. They're doing good, but what's really surprising me is how much they're fluctuating. We got some areas of the field that's really just not doing very good at all. You know, between 60 and 70 bushels, looks a little thin. I really don't understand why, but really good places out here, you know, pushing 120, 130. I don't know, it looked like our field average so far is running around 85.
Once we got rolling good, we were plagued by multiple types of weather.
Boys and girls, the circus has officially started.
It's gonna be a hot one today. There's one single thunderstorm in all of West Tennessee, and guess where it's coming towards?
We have to laugh at this. If it's gonna happen to anybody in West Tennessee, it's going to happen to us.
So it says it's 98 degrees, but it feels like 114. There is legit just heat rising off of this wheat field. It is just ungodly hot in this field.
But other than the weather issues, wheat harvest progressed nicely until Matt and Carter started having some encounters with wildlife.
Well, that's a young one there. He gonna poop all over you. He walked right up to you. You expect me to believe that?
Like he was sitting right there and he was walking towards it and then he just stopped and then he kind of like sat down and just looked at me. I just walked straight toward my screen.
Did you run over a skunk? Because it smells god awful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I smell it too. Woo! Yeah, it's getting pretty stout in here. Kelly might not let me in the house
Oh
tonight.
God, I smell it over here. Are you sure you didn't go through the combine?
Oh God.
Matt, you're gonna need to burn your clothes.
What I tell you, she ain't gonna let me in the house without burning these clothes. Carter, I found the skunk. Are you wanna go get off and grab it for me?
Yeah, I'm not grabbing it, but where's it at? It's moving! It's moving!
Oh my gosh, it is moving, Carter. Grab that thing for me, man.
I'm not touching it. I will bring a pole to you. Just give me a second. Nobody touch it!
And we also had to deal with losing some of our farmland to developers.
More of the countryside that I grew up on, that we've been farming for decades, will now have a house on it.
But things progressed quickly until we had our third major breakdown of the year.
I need you to come over here, please. Apparently something broke off and it all got caught up in it. All I was doing was backing up.
I'll be there in a minute, Kelly. Somehow, all of our cords and hydraulic line and everything the tire grabbed it and wrapped it around and stretched it and broke it. Of course, you see that hydraulic line stretched tight as a banjo, so we're letting the air out of the tire where it's wrapped around, just try and give us a little bit of slack so this thing doesn't snap whenever we try to back it up, because it's a very dangerous situation right now. If that hydraulic line snaps, it's going to act like a whip and it kill somebody. We got our harness that we need to control the folding and unfolding functions. We got it spliced back together, so we should be able to get it back to the shop now.
We got everyone to pitch in, and the hydraulic hoses and wiring harnesses were repaired in record time.
All right, we got everything put back together, I believe. I'm gonna pull it out here and test it out. Make sure nothing's going to stretch too tight and everything's going to talk to each other.
Towards the end of wheat harvest, Carter even got some seat time on the combine.
Hey Carter, you think you can run this combine and cut this first field while I carry Zach back to the semi-truck?
Now, as you've seen the past few years, weather is usually a major storyline in every year, and a lot of times in a negative way. This year was no different.
We got ourselves our own winter wonderland today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will be your captain today on today's episode of Ice Road Truckers. Currently, we are experiencing hazardous road conditions. That ice storm that we had It broke a 120-year-old oak tree in half in my backyard and left about a 15-foot tall stump that was massive.
That may be getting a little angry.
And for the last month, it's been raining about 3 to 4 days out of every week. By the time you get done with the rain event, you might get 1 day, maybe a half a day in the field if you're lucky, and then it rains, you know, another 3 or 4 days and you're out. We just haven't been able to get anything done.
That would be us right there. Just blew up right over us.
During wheat harvest, we noticed a troubling trend.
I just checked the weather forecast on my phone. It's gonna be great wheat harvesting weather. Not gonna be great corn growing weather. For the next 14 days, there is almost 0% chance of rain in the forecast. And with the exception of a 2-day reprieve, talking about high temperatures 97 to 99 degrees. So our hopes for a very profitable year could come to a halt in the next 2 weeks. I'm definitely not in full-blown panic mode yet, but I will say that my level of concern is rising just a little.
After wheat harvest, the situation became really serious.
You can see this corn is, you know, it's starting to roll its leaves up pretty tight to try and conserve moisture. You know, for most of the last 3 weeks, we've had temperatures in the high 90s, approaching 100 degrees. It's been pretty breezy some of those days. I haven't had any rain in those 3 weeks. I mean, this ground is hard and dry. And there's not a darn thing I can do right now to help my corn crop along. I mean, this dirt is powder dry.
You know, there's enough moisture that the bean's squishy. That means it absorbs moisture, but there's not enough moisture for it to germinate.
We might not get a stand out here. The heat wave of the last 2.5 weeks is finally broke. Unfortunately though, that rain we were supposed to get yesterday did get a little bit. We got anywhere from like 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch across all of our farms. Definitely not what we needed.
Even though our corn was seriously hurt, our cotton was really hanging on, but the heat did return.
It's hot out here. Hardly any rainfall, and as you can tell, this cotton's not even wilting. You see, we got a nice, dense mat of cover crop down here, and this cotton looks absolutely fantastic. As you can see, I mean, that stuff is just hard as a brick. There's no moisture in there whatsoever. I mean, even going deep down here, I mean, there's literally no moisture right here. I mean, ultimately, we still need water. However, my crops, as you can see, are still holding on for that next rain. Now, ultimately, at some point, they will fail unless we get a rain, but they're still holding strong. We still got really good yield potential. Now, that's what we're looking at in our corn crop right now. The corn crop has been growing longer. It's been pulling a lot more moisture out of the soil than what our cotton has, and it has been irreparably harmed. In fact, I'll post a couple pictures here that Kelly just walked out in the cornfield and sent me some pictures, and we're experiencing extreme tip back on the corn ears. And you know, that's ground that's been cover cropped, and it held out longer than what no-till would, but ultimately you do get to a point to where if you don't have water, I mean, the crop's going to fail, and that's what we're looking at with our corn crop right now.
It's a tad bit moist outside. It's a balmy 114, so it's beautiful.
Now, while we were dealing with drought, we were also dealing with pigweeds.
Well, one turned into like a whole family. So this is what we're fighting. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. All those seeds on there. Look at these roots. This is the devil's weed. I ain't talking about that stuff.
Come on up in your chariot. Let's go ahead and dunk Kelly in the water.
I didn't sign up for the Jurassic Park ride.
First day with the precision variable rate sprayer with optical sensors worked out pretty well. Well, I think one of those optical sensors down there on the end is tired.
Oh, did I mention it was hot?
I said I want to blur Zach out so we don't have nudity on the channel.
I can go get some duct tape pasties.
Put some X's on your nipples.
Make sure you Photoshop one of those Chris Hemsworth six-packs on me whenever you're editing this video.
Ooh.
I done told Kelly I'm gonna tie my feet with one of them 6,000-pound tow straps you got and hang it off the loader track and let her baptize me a couple times in the pool.
But all I really needed to do was turn things over to God.
You know, the success of this farm does not rest on my shoulders, even though it feels like it does. The weight of this farm does not rest on my shoulders. The fate of this farm has already been determined. The only thing I'm here for is to try and put God's plan into motion the best of my abilities and to work as hard as I can at doing that. And that's a lesson I've had to be reminded. You know, instead of going home and worrying about whether we're going to get a rain, whether we're not going to get a rain, what the right thing to do is and all that kind of stuff, I've been reminded of the lesson to turn everything over to God. He's in control. He's got it covered. He's the ultimate boss of all of this.
And ultimately God delivered in his own time frame after 44 days with little to no rain.
I don't know if it's going to be enough to make much of a difference, but my mood's a little bit better now than it was about an hour ago when I thought we were going to miss every bit of it. All right, I just want to give you a visual representation of just how dry it is out here. Now, we got about an inch of rain.
I mean, you can clearly see the moisture in there. It stops right there. And then beneath that, 4 inches, I mean, it is straight up powder again. It is dry. There's no moisture. That stuff is hard as a brick. After that, we started receiving regular rains that really helped turn our cotton and soybean crop around.
I think it's coming. I think it's finally coming. Time to get my butt in the house. Woo! Bring it. Come on. Let it be known at 12:11 a.m. on July 18th, the drought might have finally broke.
But even though the future was looking brighter for some of our crops, we were immediately hit with another challenge.
Sure, a lot of y'all know Zach is moving on to bigger and better things. Had a great offer from Tyson that he absolutely could not refuse. Was it outside?
Yeah, I'll be working with on the management level of the live production side.
Yeah, live production manager's official title or whatever. Been with me what, 6 years, 6.5 years?
6.5 full time. I figured it up last night. 16 last month. 16 years ago was the first time you called me to come help in the hayfield.
Going to be a huge loss for us. Hate to see him go, but no, we've got a lot better opportunity for himself and his family. And wish you the best of luck. Really appreciate everything you've done for us. Be impossible to place you.
This is, I can say this without a shadow of a doubt, this has been the best job in my adult lifetime.
To get us by this harvest, we hired our oldest son, Nate.
And we also got a new guy.
Well, I'm Nate. I'm their middle child, the best one that they have ever had.
Lies, all lies, don't believe it.
Yeah, notice he said I'm the middle child.
What's wrong with that? That's the best one, ain't it?
Anyway, he's going to be helping us out this fall. He'll be here through at least December.
And before the growing season was over, we got to try an amazing new piece of technology.
We got right here is a spray drone.
Before we knew it, the growing season was almost over, and it's time to see what kind of damage the drought had done to our corn.
You can tell, I mean, it's ugly out here. A lot of this corn, especially in this spot, I mean, it died prematurely. No ear there, small ear, small ear. Wanting to get in the combine, small ear. Might not make it in the combine, small ear. Decent ear. While there is grain out here, there's not going to be very much. So this is what we're looking at. Pretty pitiful right here. These 3 cobs, they averaged 13 rows around and 22.5 kernels long. But this yield check right here in this spot came up with 48 bushels per acre. About what a decent soybean yield would be is what we're going to be making on corn in this spot. But even though our corn was devastated, our cotton and soybeans showed great promise.
Welcome to Cotton 2022, and it's just loaded down. It's insane. Let me show you this. Look at this. Look. And these are just the so-so plants over here.
All right, on this plant, I counted 83 pods, and that's just counting the full-size pods. That's not counting the small ones that are still growing and developing. Well, I found several 4-bean pods on here. Right now, they look phenomenal. And after spraying all of my double crop soybeans yesterday, I can say the vast majority of them look just this good. Well, as bad as last year's cotton crop was, this one is shaping up to make the difference from last year and then some. I mean, just wow. That's all I can say is wow. It has come on like a freight train ever since the last 5 weeks. Anyway, looking at this one plant that I just pulled up randomly and stripped, bowls, big fat bowls all the way up and down the plant. I truly believe cotton is going to be the crop that's going to carry us strong into 2023. It's going to make up for the piss poor corn crop we're going to have and then some. Finally, the calendar turned to September and it's time for the moment of truth. Just how bad was our corn going to be? All right, after the worst drought in 10 years, time to say just how poor this corn's going to be. I'm actually a little bit surprised by yields. You know, we're right there at the upper end of kind of what I was expecting and haven't even gotten to the better parts of the field. So maybe this, I mean, the corn's still going to be terrible, don't get me wrong. But overall, I'm a little pleasantly surprised so far. Now, while we knew our corn yield was going to be bad, we had a bigger concern with the quality of the crop, which might actually prevent us from selling what little corn we were producing. My other main concern is aflatoxin. Because of the drought, hot, dry weather, that's a prime environment for aflatoxin, and crop insurance says they don't want any put in the bin before it's tested for aflatoxin, because once it goes in the bin, if it tests for positive aflatoxin coming out, they can't pay me. So they need to know about whether it's got aflatoxin in there before it goes into the bin.
Okay, first what I've done is taken it out, and each one we're putting into bags labeled truck 1, truck number 2, and then we are putting the test, the aflatoxin test, inside each bag. So in case there's any discrepancy, we can go back and we can test them again. 2 lines mean we're negative, and it looks like we are negative, so we can dump the truck. Now Matt wants the fans on. With green bins, you can kind of blow it out of there. There is a little bit of slight aflatoxin in there, even though all of our tests have said they're negative. So we don't have to quarantine our corn right now.
Because of poor yields, the harvest pace was quick and easy until we hit a snag.
Hey, I have bad news. We have aflatoxin.
So that boat tested positive.
I've tested it twice. It's 1 line.
All right, any samples that test positive, we're going to dump them into bin number 1. And the samples that do test positive, just kind of set them off to the side, because the insurance is going to have to come grab them and take them and to have an official test done on them.
Ultimately, our corn, while still extremely poor, was actually just a little bit better than what we thought it'd be. There it is. That's all, folks. Man, I'm so glad I'm not going to have to drive down the roads and see no more corn standing. But look at that total bushels right there. I needed 37,500 bushels to fill my contracts. We just made it by the skin of our teeth on getting our contracts filled. Average yield 79 bushels per acre. Realistically, I was expecting an average yield of 50 to 70 bushels an acre, and we exceeded that. With our worst crop out of the way, it's finally start time to making some profit with the soybean crop. These are the highest yielding ugly short beans I've ever cut. We got into some pretty dang good beans here.
Well, some numbers right there to be proud of. Heck yeah. While we were cutting soybeans, our cotton had been defoliated and was getting closer and closer every day to being ready to harvest. And then finally, the moment we've been waiting for all summer long arrived. All right, here we go. Yields most definitely did not disappoint.
I mean, we're routinely between 12, there's 1,400, 1,500 pounds per acre.
And I even had some prophetic words at the beginning of cotton harvest.
But maybe, just maybe, the crop's good enough, maybe it'll open the door to having one of those baler pickers out here.
Cotton harvest progressed slowly, mainly due to yields continuing to grow.
Look at this. Oh, it's so fluffy. This is fantastic.
Man, I knew this was gonna be good, but I didn't think it was gonna be that good. 1,900? Well, if I'd planted every acre I got into cotton this year, I might just been able to retire.
But big yields wasn't the only reason the cotton harvest was slow.
In case you're wondering, this is supposed to be a straight pipe, but 30 plus years of abuse have bent it up. Halfway through getting the picker service, my tether button, which I can remotely control the units, goes out. Well, everything was going decent today until that happened, and that happened. This is a big one.
I was gonna say that. The equalizer.
All right, if it leaks now. I got another paperweight here.
And now, as you can see, the tramper, the mechanism that holds it together is wallered itself out. Matt is having to go make another one.
How many things can happen in one morning?
But these minor problems actually paled in comparison to what happened later.
And it is literally smoking. There's no way, we just passed it up 2 hours ago. How in the hell? How? No way, no freaking way.
All right, something obviously was inside the middle of the module that wasn't supposed to be there, and it finally burned its way to the outside. Hey, I'm on.
My basket's on fire! My basket's on fire!
I don't see smoke. Oh! Thankfully there's no fire, but Bull Buggy is definitely out of commission.
But none of that compares to Kelly almost losing her fingers in an accident on the module builder.
Heard Kelly screaming in the background. Somehow she got her 2 fingers pinched in between it, and I mean pinched in there good, and it literally almost tore her fingertips off right there. That first knuckle almost cut the fingertips smooth off.
And even with her serious injury, she was back out in the field the next day.
Current situation, flipping myself off, painful. All the numbing is wore off now, and there's really no comfortable position whatsoever.
Cotton yields actually peaked about 3/4 of the way through cotton harvest.
Woo, look at those numbers. Holy moly. Those numbers every cotton farmer strives to see at least once in their lifetime, at least here in West Tennessee. It's blowing the top off my basket.
However, our later cotton was really hurt by an early freeze, and it really reduced yield.
We've got a lot of lost yield potential in this field. You know, with that freeze that hit, 5 days after I applied the Ethifine, but there's going to be a lot of cotton left out in this field just because the spindles can't grab it and pick it, unfortunately. And that's what's giving it that brownish tinge up there. Just that cotton just didn't, really open up and fluff out. It's still going to do good, don't get me wrong. It's just not going to do what it was capable of.
But ultimately, our kids really stepped up, and we got cotton harvest done.
Think you can pick the rest of the cotton?
Yeah.
You sure? You're not tearing nothing up, because I can't have nothing else tore up. Well, so you really think you can do it?
Yeah.
I believe that may be his last pass right there. There he comes. I believe we may be done.
But we're still a long ways from being done for the year, as we still had wheat to plant and soybeans to cut. but some friendly faces showed up to really help us out.
Man, I seriously got to put some gates up on here to keep the riffraff out.
I know it. You don't ever know who's gonna come pulling up.
Dylan Robert out here, they got done with harvest last week and they have graciously volunteered to help speed us up on our harvest. So hopefully we'll be able to run 2 crews whenever it dries up here in a day or 2. We're actually gonna have 2 crews running out here today. So when he approached me about it last week, I said, well, I'd love to have y'all help. Do you want to plant wheat or you want to cut beans? He told me, I sure wouldn't mind a chance to run that draper head. You know, try one out, see for myself what they're all about. Like, well, when it dries up from this rain, y'all just come on out and we'll make it happen.
I can't rag on Dylan because he doesn't know the fields, and that's a whole other field. You're supposed to do this one first. And now I gotta chase you all around these 82 acres. Probably should have gave him a field map or something like, hey, just do this first. But you can't complain because they're out here. And I'm very, very, very thankful that they're helping for the next couple of days. I guess I'm gonna go chase them around. I tell you one thing, they're probably not gonna yell at me like Matt does.
So while Dylan, Robert, and Kelly cut beans, I put in some long hours to get the wheat planted.
So it looks like my total wheat crop this year will consist of whatever I can get done before the rain gets here tonight. So we got about 153 acres left to plant of what I was planning on putting in wheat. Looks like we might be pulling an all-nighter.
Oh, cold out there.
Well guys, here it is. Last pass of wheat planting. Oh man, thank God it's done. I'm ready to go into hibernation until springtime.
No sooner did Dylan and Robert leave than some other farmers came from halfway across the state to help us out.
Who we got here today is Alex and Jesse Lampley, come all the way from Middle Tennessee. Volunteered there Sunday to help us get some beans out. Robert and Dylan had some other stuff they had to do this weekend, so got these guys up here. We're gonna try and get some acres cut and whittle down that 300 acres a little bit farther.
Now Jesse Lampley and I actually share a common hatred of one of our themes from this year.
Hi, I found that one. I am now done with this horrific field and I am going to go over to where the boys are at.
Well, nothing new to report here. Hitting an armadillo hole so hard that it knocked my radio out of bracket. Again, I will repeat, every armadillo in America can die. Will not hurt my feelings, not one bit.
Good Lord. Armadillo holes are strong, yo.
Now Jesse, if you see any armadillos out here in the field, just feel free to load it up and take it home as a pet now.
There's an account I brought some with me and let them out a while ago because some may or may not
have. Thanks to the Lampley brothers and the Joyce brothers, we were able to make a really huge dent in our soybean crop before they had to leave.
Well man, I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate y'all coming out. I mean, we got about 70 acres done so far today, and I doubt I could have done even half of that without y'all out here.
Yeah, it ain't no big deal. We know how it is be a little behind like this to kind of get done before cold weather sets in.
Now with only a couple days of harvest left, we had a breakdown that almost caused me to have a come apart.
Here we are, you know, a day and a half left, and that tractor is now useless to me until I get it fixed, and I don't have time to get it fixed, and it's all because of some completely unnecessary bullshit emission system that the government in their infinite wisdom tells me I gotta have on that diesel engine. I'm pissed off right now. There was a problem with the sensor that shows the level of DEF in the tank. The exhaust system was still working fine, still wasn't polluting the air, but the computer didn't know what level of DEF was in the tank, so it decided to derate itself.
But as we've seen, breakdowns are a common thing all year, every year. Here's just a few of the ones that we experienced this year.
All right, boys and girls, here we are. First day of planting. I'm already out here at the service truck. We were finishing up dirt work last night, and I had a blowout on the do-off.
Let's park this thing in the shed. It's been sitting out way too long.
You ain't getting parked just yet.
Oh, give me a break. Well, the new solenoid did not fix my problem, so next step's get a tech out here because I don't have any other ideas on what it could be. And it's supposed to be the hottest day yet today. So I've cut wheat before without any AC. I just assume not do it again unless I absolutely have to.
Call an AC repairman.
Yeah, you the technician they sent out.
You want to call me that?
Well, 4 cans later, I really couldn't get my pressure to rise that much. Zach says there's a noticeable difference in the cab though, so I know it's a big system, but yeah, I thought 4 cans have been plenty.
Y'all see a problem there?
Been in my pull handle. I just don't have the proper tools. Right now, it'd be money well spent just to go ahead and get this thing over to the pros who've got the right tools to do it, and just let them do it so we can get this truck back up and running.
Words of wisdom to explain why my fan RPMs just fell to the floor, would you?
Yeah, we're gonna need a new culvert right there.
They said the hydrostats had a lot of significant wear on them. The hydrostatic pump that drives the motor that drives the units had a big crack in the swash plate.
I just can't believe we can't lift that top half out with that. Why they would tie this in to something else to where you couldn't just lift that out.
This is absolute horse crap. And oh yeah, working on this blasted thing again. Well, apparently we didn't work on this thing long enough. Nothing major to see here. Just 2 broke bolts holding wheel on.
Oh, come on. Give me a break.
Freaking battery's dead. Well, this ain't good at all. Freaking fantastic. And as you can see, I got a chopper knife got thrown off, threw the chopper out of balance. No, you probably can't see it. That was the problem. That fuse is supposed to be yellow. It's a 20 amp fuse. I think it's seen better days. Yep, my interlock fell down there. Looks like my cable broke on me. I'm out. I'm getting me a beer.
But there was one piece of equipment in particular that seemed to give us fits, especially Kelly.
Oh, lo and behold, rows 19 through 23 have decided that they don't want to play today. They don't want to play at all. So something is broken between that and these. I don't know why, because I thought I had a conversation with this planter that we were gonna act right. Let's get out of the freaking tractor. Because now I got low pressure problems. And I got air leak somewhere. Brand new airline. I can fix that. This other stuff, I don't know. Heifer! It was busting, so goodbye. I'm done with you. So now I'm just gonna hook up this line to that line. Success!
Try to not tear the planter up again, please.
Read between the lines.
Thank you.
It even led to her contemplating something drastic.
Look it! Ow! Oh. Like to quit.
But not all breakdowns are terrible. Some can actually be fun, just like when my truck broke down.
Got 2 options. Haul my truck down there. We can either use the bus or the water truck.
The bus? Oh.
So that's the only 2 things we got out here that's got a hitch on it and stout enough to pull it.
Of course we had decided on the school bus.
All right, how do I say that I'm more rednecker than you without saying that I'm more rednecker than you? You got your backpack, you ready for school?
I'm so excited! I'm riding the cool bus! Yeah! Oh, he's getting comfy!
I don't want to
get his
couch dirty.
Oh, he's comfy!
I'm not going to get his couch dirty.
That's a Craigslist special from downtown Memphis. It still has the tag on it.
It's only got 3 bullet holes.
Wheels on the boat go round and round, round and round, round and round.
But the scariest breakdown of all came at the end of harvest when we almost lost a piece of equipment. You smell something burning?
Yes.
Look, let's find it. Turn the rotor off. Come help me find it. There it is, right there. I bet some dust got on the engine manifold and then, the engine fan blew a spark or something. Right there, and that's what got it.
I haven't blown the combine
my negligence almost caused a big problem.
But with disaster averted, we finally finished harvest with some really strong soybean yields.
These Pioneer 47A64s are now my favorite bean. This is double crop, folks. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. That's it. We're done. We're done. We're done.
But we weren't done with harvest just yet.
Oh, what do we have out there?
It's like a little cotton hadn't been picked yet.
Oh, and what do we have right here? We have a 3-year-old John Deere CP690 round baler picker.
Who gets to run this thing all day, you might ask?
I do.
I'm so excited. I got the chance to run a module picker and harvest another farmer's cotton. Needless to say, I was impressed.
After spending a little over a day in this thing, I've got to say that my expectations did not exceed the capacity. And I've been so impressed with this. Being able to run a picker like this is about as life-changing of an experience as going from an auger head to a draper head, you know, big combine. Heck, it's been just as good an experience as when we got high-speed internet.
One thing we saw this year was how important it was to upgrade a piece of equipment when the opportunity arises.
See, a neighbor of ours, he had exactly the thing that I was looking at. The hooded sprayer that he was selling was about 10 years old, but it had never been used before. Brand new condition, perfect shape, but his asking price on it was about 25% of what I priced a brand new one at. So needless to say, I'd been a fool to not jump all over that deal.
Anyway, what we got here is a Wilmar Manufacturing model 915 hooded sprayer, 12-row sprayer on 38-inch rows. This one has never been used. In fact, it's still got the original plastic on it covering up the spray monitors.
But we really ended the year with a huge surprise opportunity. You know how when you wake up in the morning, perfect plan, everything's gonna go smoothly, and then all of a sudden the weather changes and your whole plan completely changes? Surprise!
Merry Christmas! We bought a baler picker.
Yeah, we came to the auction up here at Tennessee Tractor. No plans of buying anything, just come up here to see what the equipment's going for. And then Kelly and I told ourselves that, well, I mean, we're not planning on buying one. We're gonna keep our picker another year, but if it goes low enough.
It went low enough.
And it went low enough. But yeah, we own a baler picker.
But there was still one final thing that we struggled with all fall long after Zach left: finding his replacement.
We have extended a job offer to somebody that we feel is extremely qualified, but he hasn't let me know if he's accepted the offer or not, but we think he'll be a great fit. And the position that Zach had is still open. We are still accepting applications. We talked with a bunch of people, but we feel like we haven't really found that right fit for our farm yet.
Because I realized anybody worth hiring is not going to leave who they're currently working with in the middle of the growing season. Just out of the blue, I had this guy inquire about the job here on our farm, filling Zach's position. If in fact we can make this work, this guy could be a tremendous asset to our farm. A guy that I thought was going to be a blockbuster hire, it doesn't look like it's going to work out with him. He's just, him and his family are just not at the point yet where they're ready to move across the country. But after a long search, we finally closed out 2022 on a high note. We got our man.
Anyway, before we get on the project today, I've got somebody I want all y'all to meet. Everybody, welcome Andy Akins to our farm. He's a new guy taking Zach's position and looking for big things from him this year. Well guys, that concludes our look back at the 2022 crop year. I really appreciate y'all riding along, experiencing our highest of highs and lowest of lows all year long. But guess what? We get to do it all over again starting tomorrow. See you in 2023.